Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad. I am Dr. Sonal Mubar Roy and we are looking at the course Social Issues, Policies and Development. We will be focusing on block 5 which talks about contemporary concerns related to social and human development. Unit 14 is focusing on overview of human development reports with special reference to India. Today, we will be looking at the human development approaches. This course is part of Sociology UG second year, semester 3. So, we have already talked about the human development reports, their thematic breakup over the period of years, what were the key issues they were addressing, how the whole perspective changed from the economic lens to the social lens towards the welfare lens of the people. Then we also talked about how HDI factors came into play, how there is focus on giving better education, employment, livelihoods, nutrition, health factors, and also talking about the gender inequality, the gender gaps that take place. So, all these issues were covered in the previous segment. Now, we are talking about human development that focuses on people, capabilities and choices, not just economic growth. So, when we are talking about the welfare of the people, we are talking about how capable they are of making choices. Do they have enough choices in their kitty? Are they empowered enough to talk about their opportunities and choices? Are they empowered enough to talk about their issues, put across their perspectives without any hindrance, without any shyness, irrespective of their age, color, caste, creed, etc. And are they talking about welfare irrespective of the gender? So, this is what the whole approach is all about. The human development reports expanded the idea of development beyond GDP and income. It talked about the welfare of the human being. Key dimensions of human development include good health, education, standard of living, equality and dignity. If you recall, I talked about the Maslow's hierarchy. So, if we are talking about providing the basic needs of the human being such as food, clothing, shelter, and then move up the ladder and talk about social security, finance, and talk about social esteem, and finally self actualization. This is what we are talking about here in human development. We want to ensure that people, especially those coming from the marginalized communities, have good access to these provisions that are health, education, sending their kids to good schools, they are becoming good literate citizens of the country, and they are able to have a dignified way of life. So, indicators such as the HDI, GDI, GII and MPI help measure different dimensions of development and inequality. India has made significant progress in HDI in respect to education, life expectancy, but inequalities continue to persist, and this is because as I mentioned, we have a diverse population, a large geographical area, we have cultural differences, there are traditional differences, patriarchy is in place at many pockets. So, there are various challenges that we have to identify and address for better progress in HDI. So, looking at the critical reflections on human development, the economic growth alone does not guarantee human development, and that for sure who can better understand as students of sociology can. So, high HDI growth can coexist with poverty, gender inequality, social exclusion, regional disparities. So, we have to make sure that we have certain interventions in place that talk about reducing poverty, reducing gender inequality, reducing social exclusion and propagating social inclusion, and then also bridging the gap between regions and reducing regional disparities. Inequality adjusted HDI shows that unequal access to opportunities reduces development outcomes. So, whatever policy frameworks we have in implementation, reaching out to the grassroots level, governance, there are certain challenges and hindrances that actually block the way of progress. So, we have to address these issues. Development policies often fail to reach marginalized groups equally due to structural inequalities that have to be made a dent on. Human development requires inclusive governance, social justice and equitable access to resources. So finally, this whole idea of human development and how the whole lens moved from economics framework to welfare framework brings us to certain questions to ponder upon. Can a society be considered developed if inequality and exclusion continue to exist? Does economic growth automatically improve people's quality of life? If providing enough finance, funding, etc., can it really bring in some change in their quality of life? How do caste, class, gender, and regional inequalities shape human development outcomes in India? Given the Indian context of diversity, large population, how can these factors shape human development? Are development indicators sufficient to capture people's lived realities and social experience? So, how do we study them? What are the factors to be taken into cognizance? And lastly, can human development be achieved without social inclusion and democratic participation? So, the whole idea is to bring people together. People should plan together, come up with the ownership idea. They should not be marginalized, or only a certain group of people are planning for the rest of the village. No, we want people to come forward, participate in the whole development framework, voice their concerns, do away with biases and prejudices, and no power dynamics influencing the decisions. Then if we are able to arrange this kind of framework where there is no gender inequality or any kind of devoid, people are devoid of their rights and entitlements based on their caste, creed, age, if they are differently abled, etc. So if we are able to understand these questions, understand the nuances of the whole human development approach, try and understand what were the key themes that were covered in the under the human development reports, what were the transitions and what were the factors that led to those transitions over the period of years, we can actually understand the whole framework, why this whole perspective changed from the economic lens to the welfare lens. Who are the marginalized? Why are they still marginalized despite the government interventions? Can we frame better policies for their inclusiveness, for bringing them to a just society? Can we reduce this gender gap? Can we have a more healthy, more literate society for a developed nation and achieve Viksit Bharat 2047 in a more inclusive manner? This is what we are here to do as students of sociology, and we will try and answer these questions through our understanding of these key issues. And yes, that is how we achieve a very knowledgeable and built a nation which will so this brings us to the questions to ponder upon. Can a society be considered developed if inequality and exclusion continue to exist? What exactly is developed and how are we still underdeveloped? Does economic growth automatically improve people's quality of life? What are the factors that need improvement in the people's quality of life? How do caste, class, gender, and regional inequalities shape human development outcomes in India? How can we do away with certain issues such as patriarchy or caste based hierarchy or the social structure that we fight every day? Are development indicators sufficient to capture people's lived realities and social experiences? Who decides what are the development indicators? Is there any bias in deciding these indicators? Can human development be achieved without social inclusion and democratic participation? So, when we are talking about people's participation, we make sure that people from the marginalized sections are able to join the mainstream population in voicing their concerns without any hesitation, without any shyness. They have the equal rights, equal capabilities to speak up, to share their concerns, and that is how as students of sociology we can understand these issues, the whole idea of social policy framework, the whole idea of human development in a more better and comprehensive manner. Thank you so much.